Quick update on my Gamo Bone Collector Gen 3 here. I noticed after a couple of weeks of shooting, my scope mount started to come loose. I probably didn't tighten up the screws enough initially, and I didn't put any Loctite on them. I was too excited to just go shooting. Air rifle scopes are known to taking a beating while firing, and this was definitely my fault. So let's remedy this situation. What we're going to need is our torque key. I'm using the one included with my Gamo scope here, and we need some medium strength thread locker. I'm using some Loctite 243 medium, and as you can see, it's the blue stuff. It's important not to use anything stronger here, as this strength does not require heat to reloosen your bolts. A lot of people also use Loctite 242, which also works quite well for this application. This is what I had on hand, and as a motorcycle mechanic for many years, this is what we used in the shop. Let's get to it. Here I'm going to take out the two outside screws from my scope mount first. As you can see, one was already so loose I can remove it by hand. After taking out the next screw, I'm going to leave the middle screw in the rail, so I don't have to remove the mount while doing this. Next, I'll add just a drop to the first screw. You really don't need a lot here. Working in motorcycle shops, you will get yelled at for using too much Loctite, as it isn't cheap. Now I'll use the first screw to apply the excess Loctite to the next screw. This is not only to save your thread lock, but it makes this process less messy and evenly coats the screws. I don't want thread lock everywhere, and I don't want them to be impossible to remove. A little bit really does go a long way. Now I'll reinstall the outside mount screws hand tight before removing the last screw from the middle of the mount. After adding a drop of thread lock to the last screw, I just use the tip of the Loctite bottle to evenly spread the Loctite over the screw. And then we'll hand tighten our last screw. And now we'll retighten all of our mount screws with our torque key. I want to get them pretty tight, but I definitely don't want to go overboard here. I don't want to strip or break my bolts. Definitely don't tighten with the very end of your torque key. Tighten until snug from the middle of the wrench. I also took this time to inspect my ring mounts, but they have held up nicely and I don't feel they need thread lock at this time. I've also heard a lot of people say that they don't recommend thread locking the ring locks, and some people do. So they're fine for now, so I'll leave them be. There we go. I would definitely recommend doing this when initially setting up your air rifle, but I'm still learning, and better late than never. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe if you feel like it. Until next time, this is 40 Acre Frank, and this is 40 Acres and a Tool.